he was like moving around weird. His legs were backwards on him. Like, they're so big that you don't really know what's happening. Yeah. His feet were this way. And I had to run over there. And then there was this girl like, look at his feet, look at his feet. And I was like, I also have to tell kids, I'm like, listen, there's kids that believe. Stop. Like the older ones. And I'm like, it's hard to check someone else's kid because I don't ever want to do that. But also, if you're not going to check your kid, I'm going to check your kid. And I'm going to do it respectfully. But don't be a little shit.
Yo. We are back. It is This Side of Jersey podcast, the number one podcast in the world. Ivan's not here to say stamps. I am your only host of the night. My name is Steven. I go by Ugly Steven on Instagram. Shout out to Vintage Sense behind the camera, as well as OGBs and iRobinson03_. If you are watching on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe at TSOJ Podcast. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, be sure to follow and download at TSOJ Podcasts. Now, we have a very, very special guest in the building today. But before we get into this great conversation, we are going to get into our layup lines. Okay, so
let's go.
For those who don't know, layup lines is a segment where we like to just get our guests loose, right? So we ask them a bunch of this or that questions, and their job is to answer as fast as possible. Okay, some people make the shot clock, some people don't. Contestant number 1, are you ready?
No.
All right, here it comes. Wait, let me make my screen bigger so I can read. All right. Here we go. Being an employee or being a boss?
Boss.
Morning event or evening event?
Evening.
Red Bull or Monster?
Red Bull.
50-50 in a relationship or man pays all?
50-50.
Angry customers or angry employees?
Customers.
Reinvest profit in the business or treat the boss?
Business.
Concert or movie?
Concert.
Wine or beer?
Both but beer.
Always being late or... you survived. Oh, no, you didn't survive. I'm sorry. You had 2 questions left.
That was close.
You lose. But I do want to ask that, though, because those are good questions. Would you rather always be kind of late? Mm-hmm. So say, like, you're always kind of, like, 15 minutes late. Mm-hmm. Or would you rather always be unnecessarily early?
I think unnecessary early is also rude, so... No, early. It's still rude, but
I'm talking like unnecessary. Like you work at 6, you're there at 4.
Unnecessarily early.
Okay, you got to catch an international flight that's at 6 p.m. and you get there at 11 a.m.
Take a nap.
Wow, that's optimistic. That's optimistic.
But I'm always late, so that's why I'm saying.
Word.
I've been better though.
Type shit. All right, wait. Last one. Saturday lunch or Friday night dinner?
Friday dinner.
Okay. Why?
I come alive in the nighttime, and I'm always working on the weekends. I do. That's when I get all my work done, is at nighttime. All
right, man. Listen, our next guest, we go back so many years.
5th grade.
Fifth grade. We know her as a friend first, but to you guys, her professional titles. She is the owner of a character entertainment company named Minnie's Magical Moments. Ladies and gentlemen, Minnie is here. Get a little love. What's going on?
Hi.
How are you?
I am well. How are you?
I am happy that we got this scheduled. It was very difficult.
That's okay.
I'm not going to say whose fault it was, but it definitely was. Somebody made it difficult. I'll say that.
That's okay.
Somebody made it difficult.
That's okay. We made it happen, though.
We made it happen. Before we start, I kind of got disturbed before we started the cameras that you said you don't drink water. That's the kind of thing, okay. Right? So that's all right. That's the kind of thing. I'm not a judgmental person. Like I'm really not.
Usually judgmental people say that, but okay.
Say, am I judgmental?
He didn't say no immediately.
He said I doesn't think so. I'm not judgmental.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So now that we cleared that, when people say they don't drink water, if it almost feels like like character telling. Like it feels like I know so much about you when you said that.
Yeah.
I feel like you feel me though, like the way you're looking at me.
No,
like
I definitely wish I did.
So then why don't you drink water?
I forget. And I just like juice. I love Red Bull. So that question was not hard for me. I think anyone who watches this that knows me will comment. They all know that it's just, I always say that Red Bull should sponsor my funeral. And also, if I ever had to go to the hospital, instead of like the IV, it should just be Red Bull and I'll be good.
Are you sure you're doing all right?
No.
On the inside?
No.
You were
I don't know. I want to drink water. I want to drink water, but I'm just not good at it. Like orange juice.
Is it a taste thing for you?
Yeah, it tastes like nothing. It's just filling for no reason.
Can I recommend some waters to you?
I've had many. What's that called? Voss. I like that one. What's the one that's like a W and it's like a big word and it's a blue bottle? Walk something?
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Good. Yeah, that is good water.
Yeah, I drink it when I need it. I just need it all the time. No, I don't drink it.
You should drink water.
I should.
You should drink water. We're going to work on that. We're going to talk about that.
Okay.
But something that I am proud of you about. I'm not proud about the water. Something I am proud of you about, though, is your business, my friend, is booming.
Thank you.
Has been booming for a while now.
It's weird.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's weird. I think it's hard work.
It's different.
Yeah. Why? Why do you say it's different?
To know that I did it, and started it from the bottom and kind of made it what it is. It's different. I don't really associate my face too much with my business. No reason. It just doesn't happen. People don't realize there's a person behind all of it. I don't know what they think, but when I go to a party, people always come up to me like, oh, like I heard of you, or I see you, or I know you, or like, oh, we hired you this time. And I always go somewhere and someone has heard of Minnie's Magical Moments. Like there's me and then there's my business. And just like hearing how many people know about it and like just how far I've come is just kind of dope. So it's just different to hear and see.
Or I want to start with asking. I really want to start with asking you the inspiration behind starting it, because I found now that there are companies that do this, but I feel like when I first saw you doing it, it was the newest thing I had ever seen, like ever. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like, how do you even get there?
So you ever see those movie lists where it's just like a bunch of different movies and then there's like little check boxes where you like, oh, see how many movies you've seen from this check box. That's like little memes that go around. And it could be just like Forrest Gump, like a bunch of different stuff, and you're supposed to check them. Well, I was with my little sister, and we were like, let's just watch them all. We were just watching them, and then I saw someone on Facebook that we weren't like good friends, but we were friends on Facebook somehow, and I saw like a few people doing it, and then I was like, that seems like something I can do. Like that makes sense. So I bought like a costume or two, and it started off. So that was 2018. Started off really slow. And then something that I always struggled with was sticking to something. It was always hard for me to like find something I love and like stick to it. Like if I wanted photography at one point, didn't last long. And then this thing kind of just like, it never left my mind. And I just kept going and going. And then 2019, I really bought a lot of costumes. And then 2020, ironically, is when the pandemic happened. But that's where most of my success came, was through the pandemic. So yeah.
When you look at what you've done, what more is there to achieve? Is it just booking events, or is it like, what's the apex of this kind of career for you?
Can you rephrase your question?
So for example, I can open a business and say that as long as my business keeps the lights on, can take care of me and my family, like I don't need to, let's say, maybe open franchises, right? Because maybe your goal is I want to open franchises, right? Your goal could be if you want to go to the NBA, right? You can make it to the NBA, or you can aspire to be like LeBron James in the NBA. Does that make sense? For you, you've opened the business, you're booking events, right? But is there a next step that you're looking for in terms of like, I want to have a brick and mortar? Or
no,
you know what I mean?
So something like, I guess if there's like a next thing I've wanted to do that I'd like to incorporate my business and kind of do both is some sort of nonprofit, I would say. You know how you see those videos go viral of like someone gives like $1,000 to someone random, like a Starbucks employee. I've always wanted to have the money to be able to do that stuff and kind of just bless random people and I like just making people happy randomly. So if I could somehow incorporate that, and then there's like, you know, there's like Make-A-Wish Foundation and different stuff. I do a lot of work with kids with cancer. So overall, the more that I would want to that is just like more opportunities on a corporate level of being able to help kids that either can't afford it or just unfortunately / fortunately, I get times to be able to I can bring happy moments and magical moments to kids that unfortunately are going to pass away. It happens, something I had to kind of get used to, but I'd like to be able to do more of that.
It's funny you say that. I was just talking to Chris. He was at my house like 2 days ago.
I was just talking to him right before I got here.
Yeah. He was kicking it like 2 days ago. He came to my apartment. And something I was talking to him about. What's that? Everybody knows Chris. Literally, everybody knows Chris. I was talking to him about like his brand, right? Mm-hmm. And he was telling me different kind of things and different kind of events he wanted to throw and like all these different things. Mm-hmm. And I was telling him how I was having a conversation with somebody else about how like I feel like people succeed in their businesses when their businesses and their ventures are centered around their moral compass or what they believe in.
I was about to say passion.
Does that make sense? Right. And I feel like from you saying what you're doing with the business, for you saying what you plan to do with the business, you kind of maintain this theme of like making other people happy, right? How do you think that you stumbled upon that that morale system, right? Or that becoming so important to you? Like how did making people happy become so important to you?
Honestly, it's always just been natural, and it's kind of weird because some people often tell me that I'm a good person, and they tell me like, oh my gosh, you do so much great things, and like I have to kind of self-reflect and like think about it, but I'm like, I'm just doing what comes to my brain. Like something that recently happened was I was at Cracker Barrel and I saw this old man sitting by himself, and I was like, I don't know if like what he's got going on, but when we see older people, we don't know if they have grandkids, we don't see any of that stuff, and like my instinct was to invite him to sit with us, and he sat with us, John, and we sat there for hours, and he was like, do you want to hang out after this? And then we ended up getting to know John and found out that he was leaving to Florida, and unfortunately, he's 82. He had to come with terms to that he was leaving his wife with dementia behind, and he is just packing up and going. And me and John, we went out to eat. We became like friends. We became friends quick. It was weird. And then I found out he was in the Air Force, so we took him to McGuire to just explore Air Force and just everything. And it was so natural to me. And people think it's doing something good, but it's just natural. But as far as like my business and everything like that, kind of going into where my success came, kind of backtracking a little bit, 2020 is where where my success came, which unfortunately for a lot of businesses, that's where their downfall happened. So around that time, I took the time to just revamp with my business. Like I took everything and I just like made it look clean, aesthetically pleasing, all that stuff. So actually, pandemic, everything closed down on my birthday, March 16th. So it was very easy to remember. Yeah. And the NBA closed the day before. And once that happened, I went out, got everything I needed because I knew that was crazy. I was like, if they shut down the NBA, all right. And my shopping experience was so peaceful because I knew it was going to get crazy. Yeah. Anyways, so the first holiday that we experienced that was like, okay, this is weird and this is going to last a while was Easter. So at the time I had my pickup truck, and I hired my princess, my superhero, and the Easter Bunny to drive around Pennsauken in the bed of my truck and just honk and wave. And I did that, and people were freaking out. And overnight, I had 17 volunteers that wanted to be a part of it. Wow. So we lined up. We met outside my mom's house. Everyone remained socially distanced and in the beds of trucks as characters and just honked and waved. And it was just crazy. Wow. That hit 6 ABC News, and after that, I was like, wait, I can work. I can just have social distance visits from the bed of my truck with the character. And someone saw what I did, and that's when, like, parades were a big thing. And someone was like, hey, I'm not sure if you were interested, but there's someone I know, and there's a little boy with cancer, and I don't know if you're interested in being a part of his parade. For that parade, I had 27 volunteers. And this was for Jackson. And I met someone named Rich, Pop Pop's Customs Cars, who, you know those little cars where they're like right on the bottom, yellow at the top, and it's like the toddlers push with
Oh,
it.
yeah.
So he takes those. He's just a guy that likes to do good, and he takes those and he will he decorates them for kids with cancer. So let's say if they wanted a Rapunzel car, he would call me, and I'd have Rapunzel come deliver the car that he made. So met him, and we did the parade for Jackson. Unfortunately, Jackson passed away, and that was really different for me because Jackson, 5, 6, and that was the first time that I realized that kids can pass away, which was crazy to me. You know, you see with kids with cancer, but I guess we always like hope and pray that they're gonna beat it, and he didn't. And he is someone that I'm in contact with his mom, and he is probably the big reason as to why I continue. People are like, how can you do this? Like, I could never do that watching kids pass away. And I'm like, I'm giving them like the best moments ever that their parents will always remember, whether they hopefully beat it or not. So kind of backtracking to what you said, all that kind of, it's just natural to me. It just kind of it's just what I want to do.
Do you want kids?
I do.
You do? Okay.
I'm fine with my black lab and my Aussie right now. But
I love your black lab.
Me too.
I see your black lab.
wait, she's the
all the
logo.
time.
She's everything.
Wow. Is she the logo? That's the main logo?
Yeah, this is this will be my one and only. That's Bella.
That's tough. Yeah. That's tough. I knew somebody who tattooed their dog on their leg.
Yeah.
And I remember I did not have a dog, and I judged them. Mm-hmm. And I got a dog.
And you got a tattoo on your leg?
I did not do.
Oh,
no. I didn't cross the line. But I definitely see where you could tattoo your dog.
Yeah.
Like, now that I, you know what I mean? Like, I feel that. That's fire. I fuck with that. I fuck with that.
Gee, that's my girl. Everyone knows Bella. Yeah. Everyone knows Chris. Everyone knows Bella.
Type shit. Bella was supposed to meet Zoe, but you know, my dog Zoe. We just had a casual interaction on Instagram about it. But no, that's fire. I fuck with that. That's super hard. I was curious to ask about your kids because I always feel like there's always those people that like love working with kids and they don't have kids, and then when you ask them, they're like adamant about like fuck no.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said I never met kids that made me question it. But I think kids are how you raise them. So. Yeah. I plan on not raising little shitheads. Yeah. Ideally.
I'm trying to. All right. If you think back to you as a kid
Ooh.
and your kids were to emulate that, would you consider your kids shitheads?
Absolutely. Okay. I was a shithead. Yeah. I think everything you don't want your kid to do, I did. Yeah. Like,
okay.
Just.
You turned out pretty solid,
I did
though.
pretty okay.
Yeah,
My mom says so.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like you have kids, they're kind of like, badasses when they're kids, but then they kind of like grow up. And
I think something that it takes, I try not to give too much advice about parenting because I'm not one. So I feel like there's like, you got to kind of.
No, you can do that with me, because I don't have kids.
Yeah.
So
but it's tricky. It is tricky territory, but. Yeah. I think a big problem is like people don't realize that things change, time change in general. And I think a lot of people don't like to talk about things with their kids, whether it's like talking about sex early, talking about drugs, but you got to have those conversations way earlier than you'd like to, because that's just today's world. I mean, that was a decade ago's world too, but you just kind of got to come to terms with that. And I think that like denial can like stop you from a lot. So, I mean, hopefully I may raise him. I think I got a pretty decent head on my shoulders. So just got to be honest and everything.
They'll be fine.
Yeah, they'll be all right.
They'll be fine. I got to keep saying, I tell my fiance, like, I want kids.
I was about to ask you, do you want kids?
But then I like, I want kids. But then every time I joke about not wanting kids, I feel like the joke becomes a tad bit more serious.
Yeah.
Like every time I joke, I'm like,
why would you not want them? It's okay if
I'm
you
still
don't.
I'm still on the fence of wanting them. I'm still like majority on the fence of wanting them. Like 98%, I still want them.
It's a scary world to bring them into. So I do toy with the thought sometimes, and also like pushing a human.
Yeah, I think more so when I think of it. I think the older I get, I realize 30 is not old.
People put a ticking time bomb on the number 30 for some reason. Do I want to have kids at like 35? Probably not. But if that's the way my car is, if that's the way it happens, I wouldn't want to force, like, I feel like a lot of people, they'll be dating someone at 29 and they're like, oh, I'm so close to 30, and then they end up having a kid, and then that's how y'all have two separate
fucked up
holidays.
situations.
And then you're in court and all that stuff. And I don't know why we put a time bomb on things. I think it's just like society does it and we just follow it for some reason. But
I think I was trying to explain this to my parents, because my parents are like in my ear about having kids. Yeah, they're ready. Mm-hmm. They are fucking ready. And I'm like, I think it will be selfish to the kid of me to purposely have a kid right now.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because I think I'm sure everybody fucking says that, so I don't think that's like philosophy. But I say that to say, like, for example, like with this podcast, and like with he and I have a media company, and like my fiance, who has to eventually become my wife, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like so many things that like I want to happen so that I can enjoy my life long term, that I feel like when I say like the foreseeable future, like in the next 5 years, do I want kids? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I do, definitely.
You know what I mean?
I do, definitely, but at the same time, if it doesn't happen that way, I'd like it to, but
yeah.
So, what was I gonna say? Kids.
Being a parent.
I lost my train of thought.
Talking to kids, they'll be fine if you raise them and you talk to them.
Oh, I know what I was gonna say. I think that we want to be ready, but I don't think you can ever really be ready for kids, and I think it all just comes naturally. For real though, I think we try to prepare ourselves so much. I mean, I am a planner. I am OCD. I am planner. I get all that stuff, but I know, like, in this world, you're never going to be really financially. I mean, you can be, of course, but like it's just, you know, it's just one of those things. But like, you got to trust your gut, but I think you know what's best. Don't let anyone influence you.
Including your fucking parents.
Especially, not including, especially. Mine aren't pressuring me though.
I want to talk a little bit about your operations with the business, because as we were kind of talking before the camera started rolling, it's a lot off the camera that people don't see and what goes into it. So I kind of have a list of things I kind of want to talk about that, you know, are kind of from your standpoint. Something that we talked about out there was casting of characters. Something that we talked about. Is that easy to do? As simple as if someone fits the description, like, is that easy? Or like, is casting something that gives you a headache and you're like, fuck, it's that time?
I wouldn't say it gives me a headache, but I wish I had, I want more people. You got to match all the features. So I think what's hard for me is I don't want anyone to work for me that doesn't have the same passion that I do, or at least like passion in general, because yes, you can make money with this, but also it's way more than money. I got really, really blessed with the team that I have. Most of the people that have been working for me have been working for me pretty much since day one or for years. And I love doing stuff for free. I love helping. And the fact that I've met a group of people that also do, like, I felt like I was doing that. I used to do a lot by myself, and then I met so many people that kind of have the same vision as me, which is what matters. But in casting, yeah, it can be hard, just because I take things very seriously in terms of just matching the features, and also making sure, like, as far as different ethnicities, making sure that you're, you know, being really careful with that, because there's different characters that you just want to make sure that you're casting appropriately. There's that, and just there's certain things I found out that, do you know what ageist is? I don't know if I'm like dumb for that. Did you know that's a thing? I didn't. I really didn't. Call me what you want, but on LinkedIn I had posted like, oh, like, looking for young performers, blah blah blah, and then like they like blocked it and said that was ageist, and I was like, I honestly, I didn't know. But it's also like, I mean, when you think about Cinderella, you think about Rapunzel, you don't picture your grandma, yeah, but also I need Miss Clauses and I need Santas, so I do have opportunities, but for that specific role, I wasn't talking about anything.
And you're ageist.
Yeah, I'm ageist, apparently. I didn't mean to be, but apparently I am.
Wow.
But I got a lot of Santas, and they're not young.
Can that be a thing in film?
What?
In
Being
like
ageist?
theater and like kind of what you're doing?
I mean, in if you're really talking about theater and all that stuff, they are way more brutal than I am.
There's like, no fucking way. If I say to you, I need to cast a child, I'm being sexist. I mean, I'm sorry.
No, I misunderstood what you're saying. I just meant in terms of like brutal. When they walk, if this was a table and there was people walking in to like, you know, casting for a movie or something, they'll literally be like, you stay, you go.
Yeah.
Lex just was at Six Flags, and she had something, she pretty much did a interview little process, and they were like, okay, you and you stay, and then the other people left, and it was like, sayonara.
That was direct.
Yeah.
I think I was more so still defending the fact that you were called ageist.
Yeah.
I still was on that because I just thought that was ridiculous. Because if I'm casting a child,
yeah, you don't want. I don't know. I can't. It's
that
hard.
actually can't happen. So how? Okay.
I don't know, but overall, yeah, it could be hard because I do take it very seriously, matching all the roles, and it's not really easy for me to find guys that resemble the characters and the superheroes that I want. I think it's pretty normal to not have as many. I think like when it comes to high school and college, a common struggle is there are just not as many men that are interested in theater. So it's something I struggle with, but I'd rather not offer something, like not offer a character, than produce it not the way I want it to look.
Word. Who's the hardest character for you to cast? Consistently.
Superheroes. Okay. Because of that reason. Okay. It's hard because, like, if they're young, if they have a baby face, like, a lot of the superheroes have, like, 5 o'clock shadow or just manly. Exactly. That's what they're known for. And then voices. Like, sometimes they have really, really deep voices. So that it's hard. And then height matters and all that stuff, which is, I also can't really put that in a job description because then I'm going to be. But it's also, like, the way I like to really summarize it is, like, imagine, you know, you hire someone, you pay this amount you call me and you pay a lot of money for me to be there, and then someone comes in not what you were expecting, and it's like you would understand if that's the case, you know what I mean? So it's hard because I'm also trying. I don't want to be mean, I don't want to be rude, but I'm like, guys, it's important for me to just make the characters look the way that we see on cartoons.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so now another thing that we talked about, another thing that people don't your understand. Smile. No, it's just
you're scared. Where we go with this? Go ahead.
No. Expenses. Expenses. I don't think people understand this is not a cheap endeavor. Talk a little bit about, as much as obviously you want to share, but maybe you could start with like giving some things that are expenses that people wouldn't even think, like
wigs. I actually, in one of my office spaces, I have 9 wigs out, 9 of them, and they're recent because I recently just started. Over the past year, I've been upgrading a lot of my stuff, and the 9 wigs that I calculated were about $4,000 for 9 of them, and we're only talking about the wigs. We're not talking about the dresses. We're not talking about the shoes, the jewelry, anything else to it. And I have, I don't know how many characters I have anymore, 100 something. So it's a lot. I bought a superhero, 2 in particular. One was $2,600 just for him. Another one was $2,550, and we're only talking about 2. My Rapunzel wig was like $500. The outfit was like $200. It's a lot. But it's just what happens when you care. I started out with it not being a lot, so I don't knock anyone that has cheaper costumes, but I just feel like for me to put a certain price on things and for me to, because I wouldn't say my services are really expensive, but they're definitely not really cheap. But I also think if I'm going to have a certain price, I need to like show something.
Own up to that price, yeah, absolutely.
But it's expensive. It's a lot.
With the dresses, are they having to get like fitted and stuff like that? Like, how does that work?
No, overall, and also because they're so expensive, I only really get like I try to get like around a medium-ish. Usually I can fit. It really depends on the dress, but that could fit someone that's like a 0 to medium, and there may be like a large or a little bit over. But yeah, it really just depends on the costume in general. But I know I am not in a place to be having 4 different sizes of different ones, because that would be, I'd go bankrupt probably.
Have you ever had a costume malfunction?
All the time. Really? Had one yesterday. Tattoo yesterday. All the time.
Really? What's the worst tattoo malfunction? Oh, costume malfunction that you've had? I'm talking about you are embarrassed.
I would never produce anything. I would give a client their money back if there was ever like risking embarrassment. Usually we have like a little emergency pack with us too, like with safety pins and things that you could possibly need.
Okay.
So I don't think there was. Oh, I lied.
We got one.
I just remembered.
We got one.
I was embarrassed, but I don't think enough people noticed, and I ran. One of my superheroes, you know, like the big mascots. She knows where I'm going with this. He was like moving around weird. His legs were backwards on him. Like, they're so big that you don't really know what's happening. Yeah. His feet were this way. And I had to run over there. And then there was this girl like, look at his feet, look at his feet. And I was like, I also have to tell kids, I'm like, listen, there's kids that believe, stop. Like the older ones, and I'm like, it's hard to check someone else's kid because I don't ever want to do that. But also, if you're not going to check your kid, I got to check your kid. And I'm going to do it respectfully. But don't be a little shit. Yeah. I say it nicely. I'm like, hey, like, I've had to pull aside many kids because it's not fair for the little ones. Where I'm just like, there's kids that believe here. But I was like, hey, don't say anything. Like, and I just fixed it real quick. And like a couple parents definitely laughed, and I would just kind of like, had my head down.
They probably think it's funny and
but that just had to move his legs around. Just
that's
little,
hilarious.
Something like that. Butts, rib zippers. But usually we have safety pins. Yeah, nothing too crazy. I think that's the craziest thing.
So little kids be fucking like little assholes about it. Yeah. It's not a real fucking dude.
Yeah, like I said, usually I check it. So mascots, you know the difference. There's like the big heads versus like a character. Yeah. Characters I could usually send out on their own because they're self-efficient. They can speak for themselves. They can handle things on their own as long as they've been working for me for a while. But with mascots, there always has to be a handler because they're limited to their vision. They're limited to their walking. Usually they have only 3 or 4 fingers, like according to whoever they're playing. So, or sometimes they have no fingers. It really just depends who they're going to be. Like if it was a unicorn, I don't have a unicorn anymore, but he just had hooves. So your hands are just...
Oh, word. Yeah. Like you're just fucking...
You're just in there. Yeah. So it really just depends on like what it is. But yeah, sometimes kids aren't nice. And something that we've unfortunately experienced often is people see us there and they're like, oh, babysitter's here for the hour. How long are you guys here? They don't actually say it, but you would think that they do. Yeah. Because I'm like, I hate correcting your kids. That's not my job. It's not my job. And also as a character, like when they are not supposed to break character. But I've noticed that with the mascots, kids will like try to like hit them and pull things, but I don't allow it. Like I check it immediately. And if it comes to that, I'll tell them like, you know, this character is going to leave if you don't stop, or I've had to get like a parent and say something. Like, it doesn't happen all the time. Usually when you reprimand them, since I'm like a stranger, they like, oh, they just get scared and run away and cry for me. Yeah. I'm not yelling at them, but at the same time, I'm like, hey, you can't do that. And they just get usually they get scared and run because I corrected them. But yeah, it's weird. I don't know why kids do it.
That's sad.
It's weird.
I would be like, fuck off.
Yeah. I'm like, what happens at your home? Why are you doing this? Usually they stop after they're reprimanded, but when the characters are on their own, it's a lot harder because like they're trying to, you know, keep performing. But there's definitely been times where like you just had to say, not break character, but still just correct them more than you wanted to.
I think hearing you say that is exactly why I give credit to people who are like fucking kindergarten teachers. Yeah. I'm like, I don't think I could do well in a space where I cannot communicate to you as clearly as I know how to. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't tell a kindergarten kid to, like, stop fucking around. Yeah. You know what I mean? A high school kid, like my kids, I can tell them, oh, no, stop fucking around. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, they get it. All right, cool. Mm-hmm. But I can't imagine a kid, like, fucking with my character. And, like, I'm like, can you please stop? And he's like, no. I'm like.
I think if you ask them too nicely, they won't listen and they won't care. So I'm like, you can't do that. And, like, definitely more, like, stern about it.
Have you ever had to, like, really bark, like,
oh, absolutely.
I will fucking rip your face off.
I don't say it that way, but I mean, yeah, I had a recent party that I don't want to go too much into, but it was actually the worst party I've ever had. Stop. Yeah, I actually, when me and her left, I said we are not ever going to talk about this. It was overall.
I feel like I can see the trauma on her face.
It was crazy, and I knew that honestly. For reasons I can't say, I knew it was going to be something, but nothing could have prepared me for what I would have walked into. I have like when somebody books with me, I have like a list of questions that are like date, location, time, birthday, child's name, age, how many kids are going to be there, is it outdoors or indoors? A lot of questions that are pretty much good.
Can I stop you for a 2nd? Mm-hmm. All right, we're gonna play for a second. Okay,
playing?
I am. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna play a little. I hate saying role play because it just has a bad connotation. Okay. But like, okay, anyway. So, Hey, Minnie. I have my daughter's 4th birthday. Mm-hmm. I saw your promotions and advertisements on like Instagram, Facebook. They look really nice. So I was wondering if you would come do a birthday for me. We're thinking no longer than 2 hours. And I need, this character, and that character. Mm-hmm. What you got?
What's your date, location, time? What character are you interested in? So find out if I'm available first.
I need those two. I need Lex and Say. Mm-hmm. And I need, it's at 123 wherever the fuck in Turnersville.
Okay.
Residential.
Okay.
At my house in my backyard.
Gotcha. Can you send over your email so I can forward all pricing, and then you could just decide what options sound best. As soon as you figure out what option sounds best, I'll see who I have available for that day, and then I'll send you the information for your retainer and the form I'll need to lock in. And that's it. Why are you looking at me like that?
I don't know. I thought it was going to be a lot more negotiating.
No.
That simple.
Yeah, it's really simple. I would obviously be writing down the notes. I'd be writing down a couple things that I need to know, but overall, confirming that we're available. So what would happen is I would reach out to the people who play whatever characters that they're asking for, and then I'd confirm if they're available. I'd let them know, hey, we have someone available. Would you like to secure your date and time? And then I send them the information. Something that they don't do is send it on time, and then by the time they reach out to me again, I'm not available anymore. Yeah, which I write that down too, just to let them know.
Oh, you know what?
Oh, that's a new
Miss
problem.
Miss Minnie, I forgot to tell you. I said 2 hours. I need you for 6.
Okay. I'll send you the pricing via text of the difference.
You know what? They just called back. They said they're going to be a little late. I need you for 8.
I'll send you the pricing.
Wow. You would do an 8-hour party.
We have. She has.
What's the bathroom situation like?
No, go ahead.
It was in a restaurant, so it wasn't too bad. And they were really accommodating if I needed breaks, which was really nice.
Okay, cool.
And it was also, like, very much communicated that, like, hey, I'm going to need breaks.
Okay, I'm about to say, breaks got to happen.
Yeah.
We got to pause. You know what I'm saying? Okay,
I think the hardest thing, what would be for her, is more so like a wig on for that long. But I think didn't you take it off or something? Like you took little breaks to take it off?
Is that just like for temperature purposes? Like it's just super hot?
It's like, I mean, imagine, there's a strap. So like a bra strap is what's on the inside, like down here to keep it like on and tight, and then you
like
bobby pin it.
Yeah.
Overall.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's really uncomfortable, so it was very much needed to just, like, do a little lift.
Yeah, get some air in there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
you know what? Actually,
no problem.
Minnie,
Okay.
I just found out, actually. If the character breaks character, I want full refunds.
No. No, the one that's not gonna happen, and two, just no, that's not how this works. Honestly, I would tell them, I think to be safe, it's just better off if you book with someone else, because it doesn't seem like we have the same interest. Not interest, but I don't know. I have to think about it. Usually, I need to think about it, and if I don't have the answer right away, I'll tell them I'm busy and I can't answer right now. If somebody's like really crazy or something like that, and I just be like, honestly, I think it'd be in your best interest if you find someone that suits your needs better.
A little better.
Yeah, because thankfully I don't have a lot of crazy clients or Karens. They it doesn't happen too often.
I was trying to see how far you would stretch.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be expensive.
Yeah.
You could.
If you pay
I
it,
like people. I have a friend who has a restaurant in South Carolina. We haven't gone down there, but like we can. He would know it would be expensive. We go to New York for parties. It's not cheap. It's not the normal pricing that it is down here. There was a TikTok that went viral, and we got a lot of New York bookings. And I was just like, we'll do it, but it's just not gonna be cheap.
Yeah. Where's the furthest you've gone for?
School? No, I mean New York. We've been.
New York, I think.
I think like 4 hours away. Or something like that.
I use like upstate type shit.
I don't know where. I just put in the GPS. Yeah.
Wow.
I put in the GPS and make sure it's not in a not safe neighborhood, and that's really what I check. And if I don't know, I just have to like do a little bit of research to make sure it's like nothing too crazy. But yeah, we really go wherever, but it's a lot of travel. And if it was really far, I would make them like pay for a hotel as well to stay there, because it's also not going to be safe for people to drive, work an event, then drive
Tired
back.
as hell.
Or just not even tell them they're paying for a hotel, but include it in the price of just like, this is what the package is going to be. And then they end up staying somewhere, because that's just crazy.
Yeah, that's wild. That is wild. So talk to me a little bit about the behind the scenes, man. Like, and when I say behind the scenes, I mean a little bit more of like being a boss, right? So like, this is obviously something that you had to learn how to do, right? To be a boss. Because I feel like there's a difference in like being your own business where you're the one doing everything, right? And then there's a next step up where it's like, okay, now I can kind of delegate or hire. You know what I'm saying? So like talk about some of the struggles, some of the challenges, I guess, that have come with you being a boss that someone may not know immediately.
I suck at grammar.
I don't think that's relevant.
It is very relevant, because when I have to professionally write things to people, I call my mom.
Yeah.
I call my mom.
What are we talking though? What are we talking? What are we
Just
talking?
like I like, you know, when you see something so many times that you've seen it so much and you don't see your mistakes. I struggle with seeing my mistakes. Word. So that sounds like a weird thing to like complain about, but I always make my mom or her or anyone else that I'm talking to just proofread to make sure it's all right, and even then it's still always like a little mistake here or there. Yeah. I definitely had to like, I know what to say, but then you also have to just be careful, especially when you're putting things in writing, to just kind of make sure you're saying it right. And also like professionally learning how to say fuck you if it's needed. Like if somebody is being like disrespectful or just like, because I know how I want to say it and I know how to say it to you, but I've definitely had to just be careful. And then even something like that, like the ageist thing, like I didn't know I was.
Like, how do you respond to that? Yeah.
Well, it wasn't something I had to respond to, but that's something that I would consider like a struggle of like not knowing. That's the only things that come to my mind off the top of my head.
Do you follow that girl on Instagram who like tells you how to professionally say things?
I don't think
Or TikTok or something like that? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. The girl who you should follow her.
I wonder if I have or not. I deleted the TikTok
Tay,
app.
you know what I'm talking about, Tay? He probably can't hear me. The girl on. Do you know the girl on TikTok who fucking? She tells you like how to professionally say things.
Is she blonde?
I
don't know. I think I may have come across somebody say things before, but
nah, she's more like brown haired, kind of. She has like blue eyes, like she's kind of like.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'll show you after
I
this.
feel like I've seen something, and I'm definitely good at it now. But that was definitely a process. That was definitely a process for me. Just learning how to say stuff properly and not offending people. Yeah.
I think that's something that somebody would take for granted.
What do you mean?
Like, I think someone would overlook paying attention to how they speak in an email. I think customer service is something that entrepreneurs have to learn, but like, I think that it's something that it's hard to learn. And I think if you have certain characteristics, it will help you be able to do that. But if you don't have those characteristics, it's a really large jump. Yeah. So for example, if you had a temper, and you know you have like no patience, and you go from 0 to 60, like you get mad at fucking like this falls over. You're like, ah. Yeah. Right. Customer service is indefinitely going to be harder for you than it is for someone like you. Does that make sense?
2 other thoughts came to my mind. Yeah. One, small talk at parties. I think the pandemic may have made me socially awkward because like not talking to people, but small talk was weird. Like one, I hate artificial conversation. Like, oh, like how's it going? Like I don't know, it's just weird. And I used to like make little small talk conversations like, oh my God, like she looks just like you. And they're like, that's not my kid. And I'm like, this is why I don't say anything. Yeah. So I had to like kind of just have a better.
Though? Huh? I feel like that would work.
What do you mean?
If you came up to me and said, hey, that kid looks like you, and I said, that's hilarious because that's not my kid.
Yeah.
I would talk to you after that.
I don't know. It's
no?
It just feels weird. I'd rather just say something else or say nothing at all. So I had to learn like better conversation. Yeah. That was weird. I had another one, but I don't remember what it was.
Is it because you're talking to parents? Is that why?
It could be. I mean, it doesn't bother me anymore as much, but I think the pandemic, I just maybe didn't talk to as many people and were as in like as many social gatherings. But just going back to like business and like things that like you had to get used to as like a boss, or that was definitely like weird as small talk and like not knowing what to say. But the truth, what do they say? When you don't know what to say, don't say anything at all. Yeah, that helped. It helped me know what to say.
Yeah. Are you the type? I have a question. Are you the type? First of all,
are you the type to say I have a question before you have every question? Ask any question. Yes, you are.
What just happened?
You announce that you have a question. I do the same thing. You announce you have a question right before you have a question.
Oh, I have a question, and then
you say question. Yeah, you've done
okay.
it a lot. I do it too.
I've done it a lot, like just today.
I think so. Yeah, but go ahead.
I feel seen. I feel seen.
What's your question?
A lot of people haven't seen my flaws today. First of all, but just recent, as of recent, a lot of people have been seeing my flaws and pointing them out to me. Like,
go ahead.
Yeah, bro. Like what? Earlier, you said I'm not the kind of person who can see my own mistakes.
About myself?
First, you said it about the grammar is what you said. You got to give it to someone else. And I got traumatized because I was like, I wonder if you're the kind of person who can't be told like anything about yourself.
Oh, not at all. I think you, no, unfortunately, I tell
like,
people.
If somebody were like, Minnie, like,
I think it's about your approach. I think it's how you talk to someone. I have no problem with telling people about themselves. But
can you be told though?
Yeah, I think. Do you think so? I actually prefer people to tell me things wrong.
Do you?
Yeah. You sound a little scared.
Yeah, I said you saw that like.
I saw Steve Ray.
I think she flinched a little bit when you said it. Like,
yeah,
it was a little like, yeah.
Let me get the.
You know what I mean? Yeah, because I saw that. Yeah, I'm putting pieces together. Like, yeah, physical.
I think it's like it depends how you come at someone, how you say it. But I actually prefer to be told what I did wrong so I could fix it all the time. I always ask. Like I just had my first like ticketed event where people purchased tickets to be there.
Oh, word.
And
congrats.
Thanks. It was different. It was scary because. Someone, I don't know, it was just like a different experience. When someone hires me to be there, but I had to provide all the entertainment. And I kept asking people, like, I want feedback. Like, tell me if there's anything. Because I want to know so it can be changed. And also, like, how can I change something if I don't know that's wrong? She's definitely had to tell me many times, like, stuff, how to do differently. We both kind of just bounce off of each other. So I just think it's about how you present it to someone.
Yeah. What about not work-related, though?
Say it again?
What about something that's not work-related? Like if I was like, you know what, Minnie, I think like you are kind of like arrogant. Are you able to look at that and be like, am I arrogant?
Well, I'd ask why. An example is that I'd either agree with you and understand why, and it'll probably take me a little longer than normal to apologize because I'd have to like let it sink in what you said to me.
Yeah.
But no, it can be embarrassing for sure. Like you never want to think you're doing stuff wrong, but I've learned a lot from like past relationships or anything. Just I've become a better person with people telling me the things that were wrong with me or whatever, however you want to consider it.
That's fire. Mm-hmm. That's fire. That's fire. All right. Last but not least, is there anything else coming up? What is next up on the Minnie's Magical Moments? Something that may just be Minnie. Maybe it's not for Magical Moments. What is on the horizon for you?
Overall, right now, I've been in a place where I'm upgrading. So, like, that expensive wigs and stuff that I talked about. I finally just finished all my princesses, upgrading all of them. So, I've been focused on the superheroes. So, I did about, like, 3 or 4. I've done enough of them, but there's still more. People don't book as many superheroes as they do princesses. I don't know why. Maybe, I don't think mine were as good before. Because not many people booked for their boys, but I just want to make sure I'm including for both of them. So my next thing is to just continue to upgrade my superheroes, and then that would be, I say it, but then I always have a new idea. But that's just kind of what happens. You just constantly producing. I'm going to try to host more ticketed events that people can attend as I just keep learning it more. I'm going to have movie nights, like with projection screens and characters. I think that's pretty cool. Whenever I put to a new character, I want to have like a meet and greet kind of debut of that character. So things like that. But on Facebook, I have, it's a new thing I started. I just did it for July, where I'm putting a calendar and I'm putting all the events that are like public that people could attend, whether it's purchasing a ticket or whatever it is, so that people can kind of know where we're going to be. Because people have been, I've been going to events and people, it's been like little Minnie's Magical Moments tour that people go on where they go to, they try to go to, I didn't realize that it was so wanted that they're like, hey, we want to know, like, you know, you think about it when it's your weekend, you're like, oh, what do I do this weekend? People are like planning to go to stuff. So I'm going to try to keep it loose and just like let people know where we're going to be. And even though it's July, Christmas sessions, Christmas photo shoots, Christmas events. I already have several. First time I'm gonna have Halloween characters too. So that's the next thing. But just constantly producing and just following like the social media accounts to know what's next. Because I always have ideas, and it happens late at night. I call her and I'm just like, hey, so I'm gonna do this, and I write it all down and I make it happen.
I saw that meme that made me think of you, where it was like, as a business owner, it's the person laying in bed and all the thought bubbles. And
That's me.
Like, I have a new idea. I should do this. I should advertise.
But the good thing about me is I do it. I always do it. So
Fire.
yeah.
Well, listen, man. It has been a pleasure to sit down and chat about the business. Do you want to plug your business, Instagram, Facebook, all that jazz?
Overall, Minnie's Magical Moments on everything. Instagram, Facebook. What else is there? Google. That's really it. Minnie's Magical Moments. Yep.
Start booking.
MINNIES.
Fire. Listen, y'all. Until next time, I am your host. My name is Steven. I go by Ugly Steven. We want to shout out Bees, Tay, and Ivan behind the scenes. Until next time, y'all. It's the Inside of Jersey podcast.